Have you ever wondered why you see a puppy and just melt, but a spider makes you jump? It's like we're all judges in some giant, unofficial animal popularity contest. But the thing is, the results of this contest, well, they can have life or death consequences for the animals themselves. So let's get into it.
Okay, just take a look at these two. On one side, you've got the cute, friendly-looking clownfish. On the other, a rattlesnake ready to strike. What's your first gut reaction? For most people, one is loved and the other is, well, loathed. And it turns out there are some very real reasons behind those feelings.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? Where does all this come from? Is it just that you happen to like fish and not snakes? Or is there something much deeper, something more universal, happening here? To find out, we're going to dive into a really fascinating study out of Brazil. A group of researchers there decided to try and crack the code on why we feel the way we do about different animals.
All the answers we're looking for today come from this specific paper. It's a 2023 study by Da Silva and their team, and it was published in the Journal of Ethnobiology and Ethnomedicine. This is our roadmap for today's whole discussion.
Now, these researchers were serious. They went out and interviewed 667 students. We're talking kids from both big cities and small rural towns all across Brazil's semi-arid region. So they got a really wide range of perspectives.
And they didn't just ask about dogs and cats. Nope. They used pictures of 25 different animals. Everything from fish and birds to mammals, reptiles, and even amphibians. A real who's who of the animal kingdom.
The way they did it was pretty clever. First, they'd show a student a picture of an animal. Then, they'd ask them to rate how much they agreed with a bunch of statements, things like, "I'm afraid of this animal." After doing this over and over, they could start to see the hidden patterns in how we all feel.
So what did all that data show? Well, the first major finding is kind of a twist. It turns out our feelings about animals say just as much about us as they do about the animals themselves.
Yeah, check this out. Who we are really shapes how we feel. The study found that students living in cities, and also younger students, tended to have way more extreme feelings, both love and hate. Maybe it's because they have less real-life contact, so their ideas are shaped more by movies and stories. They also found that women were more likely to feel an aversion to animals they saw as dangerous.
But of course, it isn't all about us. The other piece of the puzzle is about the animal itself, or to be more precise, it's about the animal's public reputation.
Now, the scientists use this fancy-sounding term, bioecological representations. But don't let the jargon fool you. All it really means is an animal's public image. It's the whole collection of stories, beliefs, and ideas that we all have floating around in our heads about a particular species.
And you can see how those reputations get built. On one side, you've got the good PR. Is it useful? Is it harmless and cute? On the flip side, you've got the bad PR, which is almost always built on fear. Is it dangerous? Is it poisonous? Does it look evil?
Okay, so we've looked at who we are, and we've looked at the animal's reputation. Now, let's get to the results. Who won this popularity contest, and who didn't? When you look at the big picture, it's not even close. Fish, birds, and mammals just soaked up almost all the empathy. And what about reptiles and amphibians? Yikes. They were left with just a tiny slice of the pie. They got the most negative reactions by far. And here are your specific winners and losers. The most loved animals were the clownfish and the super colorful red-cowled cardinal. And at the absolute bottom of the list, getting the most hate, the rattlesnake and the horned frog. No big surprise there, I guess.
But here's an amazing little detail. The clownfish was one of the top winners. The thing is, clownfish aren't even native to Brazil, where the study was done. Its incredible popularity is almost entirely because of one thing: Finding Nemo. It's a perfect example of how pop culture can build an animal's reputation all over the world.
So, okay, some animals are loved, some are feared. But why does this actually matter in the real world? Well, it turns out our feelings have huge, tangible consequences. And this is the most important part of the whole story. These are not just feelings. Antipathy, that strong fear and dislike, is a massive roadblock for wildlife conservation. The animals we think are ugly or scary or just plain useless are the ones we let disappear. They don't get the funding, they don't get the protection, and they don't get the public support they need to survive.
And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. The study's authors put it perfectly. They said that figuring out what drives these attitudes is essential for creating effective conservation measures. In other words, we can't save these animals until we first understand ourselves.
So what's the answer? Is it hopeless for the world's snakes and spiders? Absolutely not. The researchers point to one clear solution: education. If we can teach people, especially kids, about the crucial job these feared animals do, like snakes controlling rodent populations, we can start to fix their bad reputations.
Which really leaves us with one final thought. Our gut reactions are powerful, yeah? But they're not written in stone. We can change them. So the real question we should all be asking is this: which animals have we gotten wrong, and what can we do to start telling a better, more accurate story for them?